You think the American dream is still alive? It has to be a joke, right? This is the biggest lie ever. The American dream is dying. It's hard to believe that this is the statement of an American about the so-called American dream that so many people are still pursuing and will continue to pursue. What has caused so many Americans to hate their own country? Widespread poverty and escalating homelessness have pushed many states, once symbols of America, to the brink of collapse. Have you ever wondered what has pushed them to this point? And is the state you live in safe? In this video, we will explore the top 10 states at the highest risk of collapse in the U.S., where economic and social challenges are shaking entire communities. From the highest poverty rates in the country to streets filled with homeless people, this journey will take you through shocking stories and telling numbers that will make you question the future of the nation. Let's start exploring right away. Starting the list of the 10 fastest collapsing states in America, we come to Alaska, a wild, remote state, but no less enchanting. This place is a paradise for those who love adventure with its enchanting, pristine beauty. However, Alaska also harbors many challenges that not everyone can overcome. In recent years, Alaska has been witnessing a severe population decline. According to the Congressional Budget Office, the state faces harsh living conditions, limited economic opportunities, and a lifestyle suited only for the truly strong. One of the pressing issues here is the rapidly increasing rate of homelessness. With few job opportunities outside industries like fishing and oil extraction, many residents fall into prolonged unemployment. Low wages combined with high living costs have pushed many families into homelessness. So even harsher, the homeless in Alaska have to face the freezing weather, conditions that turn life here into a real survival battle. Many homeless people in Alaska have to seek shelter in the forests or makeshift camps, which are not safe enough to withstand the bone-chilling cold. Alaska is a clear reminder of the fragility between pristine beauty and practical survival. If you're thinking about moving here, make sure you're not only well prepared with warm clothing, but also have a solid financial plan. Because in Alaska, there's no room for carelessness or lack of preparation. In Baltimore, poverty and homelessness are the realities that thousands of residents face every day. As many as 26.2% of Baltimore residents live below the poverty line, accounting for more than 1/4 of the city's population. So they are so poor that they cannot even meet the basic needs of life, such as food, housing, and clothing. Can you imagine that burden when simple things like a hot meal or a warm bed become so distant for them? In January 2022, more than 9,000 people in Baltimore lived in homelessness. Some people are fortunate enough to find a place to stay. Sleeping in cars on sidewalks, they have no place to call home. Their lives face many challenges, from meals and sleep to personal safety. The crisis in Baltimore is no longer just a problem for one city, but for the entire nation. The question is, when will the authorities truly take strong action? When will Baltimore and cities like it finally receive the help they need? Hawaii, with its smooth white sandy beaches and vibrant rainbows, is a dream for millions of tourists. But for many local residents, the cost of living in this paradise is becoming a nightmare. Why is one of the most beautiful places on Earth on the list of the fastest declining populations in the United States and at risk of disappearing from the map? Let's start with the numbers. Specifically, an average one-bedroom apartment in Honolulu can cost around $2,500 per month, and the rent for a two-bedroom apartment can go up to $3,500 or more, depending on the location and quality of the housing. But the problem doesn't stop there. Food and fuel in Hawaii are among the most expensive in the United States due to a heavy reliance on imports. So simple life here also requires a wallet that is not simple at all with the extremely high cost of living. Hawaii is also facing the highest homelessness rate in the United States. The thousands of people cannot find suitable housing and have to live temporarily in tents or shelters. Do you find this contradictory to the image of the 5-star resorts advertised on many websites? And if you only look at this advertisement, You will never see the stark reality where homeless people are struggling to find a safe shelter for themselves. So, combination of rising housing prices, a lack of affordable housing, and economic pressure is making this situation increasingly severe. Although the city has implemented some measures to address these issues, support from government policies is still insufficient to tackle the root causes. The program supporting the poor and homeless still lacks sufficient resources to help them overcome their difficult circumstances. Pennsylvania, the state nicknamed the Keystone State, the key to America's history, now seems unable to keep the keys for its own residents. So what's happening here? According to Newsweek, Pennsylvania has made it onto the list of the 10 fastest declining states in the U.S. and ranked 7th. So, what is the reason behind this population decline? In just 1 year, Pennsylvania lost about 40,000 residents, most of whom left in search of better opportunities in other states. Although Pennsylvania has a long history with the manufacturing industry, many jobs in this sector have disappeared, leaving communities struggling with low incomes and a lack of opportunities. The fact is, the average household income in Pennsylvania is only $67,587, lower than the national average. The decline in population and the increase in homelessness in Pennsylvania are also a warning about the urgent need for comprehensive solutions to thoroughly address economic issues, infrastructure, and support for those in difficulty. Pennsylvania needs to take action immediately, otherwise the future will become even bleaker. The prolonged state of poverty and lack of opportunities are also factors contributing to the increasing crime rate in Atlanta. People living in impoverished environments with no job opportunities are easily drawn into criminal activities. You're not mistaken. Las Vegas is also on this list. Las Vegas, a city famous for its dazzling lights, luxury, and high-stakes gambling. But behind the glamour and the luxury hotels, there is another side of the city that also exists and is often overlooked. This is a city of contrasts where wealth and poverty coexist. Did you know that 14.6% of Las Vegas residents live below the poverty line? That's right. Nearly 15% of the population struggles to afford basic needs such as food, housing, and clothing. This is not just a number. It's the reality for thousands of families who, despite living in a city famous for its luxury and wealth, are facing hardships. And it gets even worse. In 2022, Las Vegas had 18,524 homeless people, a 12% increase from the previous year. So they are the ones without a roof over their heads, struggling to survive in a city known for its extravagance. Las Vegas, although famous for its casinos and tourism industry, these sectors do not provide enough stable, high-paying jobs for the entire population. Many jobs in the service industry have low, unstable wages that do not cover living expenses, especially as housing prices and living costs continue to rise in this expensive city. Can you imagine what it feels like to live in a city filled with wealth, yet have nowhere to call home? Another reason causing Las Vegas to fall into severe poverty and homelessness is the population explosion. The rapid development of Las Vegas has led to an increase in population and housing demand. However, the housing market has not kept up with this demand, leading to a shortage of affordable housing. So low-income residents cannot access affordable housing options and therefore face the risk of homelessness. What has caused Las Vegas to fall into the state? Although the city was built on dreams and opportunities, the heartbreaking truth is that many of its residents have been left behind. The question is, what can we do to help break this vicious cycle? How can we create a Las Vegas where opportunity and prosperity are available to all, not just a lucky few? Louisiana, a state famous for jazz, gumbo, and Mardi Gras. But even its vibrant music cannot overshadow the size of those packing their bags and leaving. Louisiana ranks 5th on the list of the fastest declining states in America.
So, what is the reason?
Perhaps you wouldn't imagine that Louisiana is one of the states with the highest poverty rates in the country, reaching 18.5%, right? What about the average household income? Only about $53,500, much lower than the US, that income level seems unable to ensure them a stable and basic life, especially for families with elderly and young children. These economic difficulties are causing many people to seek better opportunities elsewhere. The issue of homelessness in Louisiana is also a serious problem, especially when considering the economic challenges and natural disasters that the state faces. Many people in Louisiana, especially in New Orleans and Baton Rouge, are living in difficult conditions without stable housing. The poorest people in society, especially those affected by unemployment or illness, often struggle to maintain stable housing. With low incomes, rising housing costs, and a lack of affordable housing supply, many people cannot access suitable housing solutions. In addition, natural disasters such as hurricanes and floods have left thousands of families homeless. After Hurricane Katrina in 2005, New Orleans and other areas of Louisiana are still struggling to rebuild and recover. Thousands of homes were severely damaged or completely destroyed, and while there were reconstruction efforts, many people still could not return to their homes or find stable housing. Louisiana is going through storms, both literally and figuratively. Ranking among the fastest declining states in the U.S., it is clear that the government and the people of this state need to unite to find real solutions and implement them immediately. How will the strength of the people of Louisiana be able to overcome these challenges? Only time will tell. West Virginia, almost heaven is how many people refer to this state, but for many residents living here, it is increasingly becoming a place they have to leave. What is the reason? West Virginia is currently facing a series of economic and demographic challenges. Once known as the center of the coal mining industry in the U.S., the collapse of this sector has led to a more than 40% decrease in jobs in this field over the past decade. So this has left many communities lacking a primary source of livelihood, forcing people to seek opportunities elsewhere. Although housing prices in West Virginia are not as high as in New York or Los Angeles, those with middle to low incomes still cannot afford to own or rent homes. Along with that, the lack of affordable housing support programs and long-term solutions has exacerbated the problem. People have to accept sleeping temporarily in cars and tents, or even lying on the sidewalk waiting for dawn. So West Virginia is not one of the states with the highest number of homeless people, but it is still a concerning issue for this place. According to recent reports from the West Virginia Coalition to End Homelessness, there are approximately 1,300 homeless individuals recorded statewide. This number includes those living in temporary shelters, transitional programs, and those without a fixed residence. They have to find ways to manage for themselves, from meals and sleep to the basic living expenses of a person. Another equally serious issue is the aging population. West Virginia has the highest median age in the country, reaching 43 years. The reason is that young people in West Virginia, instead of staying in their hometown to build a career and make a living, often move to other states where they believe they will have better job opportunities. This is a difficult cycle to break. Those who stay are often older, while the workforce continues to shrink. So West Virginia has a strong heart and history, but currently the state is struggling with the pressures of time. So can West Virginia be reborn like its own history? The future of the state will largely depend on its ability to innovate and adapt to the changes it is facing. Illinois is a state with a rich history and distinctive culture, but sadly, the very people who made it special are now leaving one by one. What has caused the land of Lincoln to fall into the list of the fastest declining states in the U.S. population? According to statistics, in just 2023, Illinois lost nearly 140,000 residents, a number sufficient to fill Soldier Field Stadium. What do you think is the cause? Part of it comes from the sky-high tax rates. The state income tax is 4.95% combined with some of the highest property taxes in the country, which has led many families to ask the question, is living here still worth it? Of course, they chose to leave because their income could not afford this exorbitant tax. But taxes are not the only issue. Illinois bears a huge financial burden with a debt of $140 billion in pension funds. It's nothing more than a gigantic credit card bill that the state will never be able to pay off. So this financial burden undermines public services, while residents continue to face the risk of being taxed more. Not stopping there, Illinois, especially Chicago, also faces a disturbing homelessness crisis. According to statistics, more than 65,000 people in the state are living without stable housing. The high cost of housing and rent is the reason many low-income workers cannot afford to pay. Some people stay with others, while others choose to live temporarily somewhere just to get by. To programs supporting the homeless still lack resources and are insufficient to meet the increasingly growing demand. What is happening in Illinois is also the reality in many places across the United States. This is a wake-up call about the necessity of financial reform and investment in people because in the end, legacies or delicious food cannot balance the wallet or bring a stable future to the residents. How can Illinois turn the tide? Only time will tell. But if nothing changes, Lincoln's land will surely lose the very people who created its soul. California is witnessing an extremely serious crisis as native residents are leaving one after another. In just the year 2023, more than 250,000 people have left this state. Are you curious why a seemingly perfect paradise cannot retain its very own residents? California, a beautiful state that is undeniable, but no matter how beautiful it is, it cannot help low-income residents pay the exorbitant living costs. Imagine the average house price reaches $750,000, more than double the national average. How will you manage to pay for it? If you want to rent a house in Cali, be prepared to shell out a decent amount because a one-bedroom apartment in San Francisco or Los Angeles will make you break a sweat. Additionally, the state income tax, one of the highest in the country at 13.3%, makes many people feel an increasingly heavy financial burden. For those who are struggling to pay rent while also covering daily expenses, this Blue Beach paradise is gradually becoming an unbearable burden. Even many businesses and large tech corporations have had to move to states like Texas or Nevada to cope with more affordable rent and taxes. However, the problem does not only lie with those who leave, but also with those who are left behind. California is currently the epicenter of a massive homelessness crisis. According to estimates, there are over 171,000 homeless people across the state, the highest in the nation. When walking through the streets of Los Angeles or San Francisco, don't be surprised if you are met with the sight of numerous makeshift tents, a heartbreaking testament to an unfulfilled American dream. California's exodus is not just a story about a state, but a wake-up call about the instability between dreams and reality. The Golden State needs more than just glory. It needs real solutions to retain its residents and revive the unfinished dream. But is there any mistake when the capital of the United States is also on this list? No mistake. New York, the symbol of the American dream, is now witnessing a major exodus. 179,000 people have left this state in 2023, seeking places that ease their financial burden and offer lower taxes such as Florida or Texas. There is no doubt New York is the place where the cost of living and daily expenses are always exorbitantly high, 48.8% above the national average. The average house price here reaches $480,000, while rental prices are around $4,000 per month. This number is beyond the imagination of many people, and to put it humorously, it's even higher than your soul. Taxes are also a factor that drives many people away. With the second highest state income tax rate in the United States at 10.9%, it has become the last straw for many families. So instead of trying to cling to that luxurious place, people choose to leave for a more comfortable life. The issue of homelessness in New York cannot be overlooked either. 91,000 people are living without homes, making New York the state with the highest homelessness rate in the United States. Every night, they try to find a spot on the street to sleep, and they can only afford the simplest meals, almost completely neglecting their basic needs such as healthcare, personal grooming, or entertainment. New York's exodus is a wake-up call emphasizing that even the oldest symbols need to change to adapt to the times. The question is, will New York find a way to retain its residents and restore its image as the Empire State? Or will it continue to witness more people packing their bags and leaving? Each state on this list carries its own story of struggle, adaptation, and hope, from vibrant cultural heritages to serious challenges. We see clearly that nowhere is perfect, not even places once considered promised lands. It also reminds us that every community can face difficulties when the economic foundation wavers or when support resources are no longer strong enough. But that doesn't mean everything is hopeless. These states can learn how to recover, rebuild, and even become stronger. So state governments should have comprehensive and radical solutions, not just with money, but with willpower, unity, and sustainable solutions. They can still write the next chapter of their lives, and we all have a role in helping them find the key to prosperity. We've made every effort to provide accurate and valuable information in this video, but it's impossible to cover every aspect of the topic. Please consider this as a reference and feel encouraged to do your own research to make the most informed decisions. What do you think about the current homelessness issue in the United States? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below this video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow more in-depth discussions on the most pressing issues of today's world. Our stories will continue to be shared in the upcoming episodes. Don't miss it.